I'll be showing you your Tableau session today. You're noticed the meeting host is being recorded by the host. Okay, yeah, sure, why not? So I'll start off by sharing my screen a little bit, just to make things a little bit easier. So I'm gonna share screen, desktop 1, desktop 2. Okay, you'll get desktop number 1, allegedly optimized for video clip share sound. Good enough. Okay, perfect. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I have no idea how the chat function, how this works. I'm going to just do a quick check. Can I use chat over here while I'm sharing? Oh, here it is. Okay, I'll just drop this over the screen. I'm just going to do one other quick check. Chat. Okay, perfect. I'll just pop this over here because it probably could be useful. Okay, so welcome everyone. So I'll start by putting this in presenting mode, allegedly. So today I want to talk about storytelling with data with everyone. And I think we have approximately 3 hours, give or take maybe a little bit less, at 2 hours. So we'll probably have a break within the 1 hour time frame. So I'm just going to set a little timer for myself. Set a timer for 1 hour.
Okay, 1 hour and counting.
Yes, I'm addicted to this thing. But anyways, it makes it easier to track things because for sure, like everyone will want a little bit of a break anyways. So I'll talk a little bit about the agenda and what we're going to talk about today. So I remember the original objective was to learn some basics about storytelling with data, maybe learn some basic calculations, but based on the feedback that I saw, I think it was more important to build transferable skills. So meaning storytelling with data that you can even use for presentations, not exclusively for Tableau. And I think no one over here is really truly interested in becoming like a regex expression king or queen or whatever, or just having some crazy calculation that you may not necessarily need to use for any other things in life. So as a result, the difficulty is at the beginner level, meaning no programming experience needed. And for sure, duration, you'll get a lot of breaks. I'm not sure what the attendee count is, but I imagine it's a pretty big bunch anyways. So I'm gonna make this a little bit different because I'm actually not gonna tell you about myself right away. I wanna learn a little bit about everyone over here first in the introductions part. And we're gonna do a little bit of background information. I'll just give you a little quick overview about what is storytelling with data, do a pie challenge, maybe finding a focus gestalt principles. And then I'm gonna focus on the exercises and to make things really easy because I know everyone has different learning curves. So what I did is in advance, I actually pre-recorded all the solutions right away. So we're going to do something a little bit different where I'm going to present it first. So you can kind of understand high level what we're doing. And if I do something in 5 minutes, you'll have triple the amount of time. So meaning you'll have 15 minutes to reproduce the exact same thing. And you have a video that I'm going to share with you. I mean, if you're already in the deck, it's like slide 13 or something. Whereas like YouTube, you can pause, play, rewind, and whatever. So it allows you to, if you're really fast, you can do pretty quickly. If you're a little bit slower, need more time, you have a little bit more support with that. And then we'll wrap up towards the end. If we're short on time, we'll probably remove activity number 4, the dashboard, because that's really error prone, but maybe we'll just focus on the first. Wait, I have 2 number 2s over here. Okay, so I have 5 activities, we might drop 1. So I'll just edit that after. So long story short, the skills that you're going to learn over here, they're really designed to help you communicate visually, either in presentations or in Tableau. So it's definitely very useful. So again, before I introduce myself, I want to learn a little bit about you. And I was thinking about this, well, why? I mean, all of you are here at 9:30 in the morning. So something has motivated you to come over here. And because there's so many people, I can't ask this individually. So I wanted to understand a little bit about what you guys are doing. So the first thing is, I'm sure everyone knows how to take a picture with their phone. So I'm gonna ask everyone over here to open up the camera and to scan that little QR code. It should say open Slido or whatever. So I'd like to get everyone to grab their phones really quickly. You don't even need the app anymore. I realize you don't even have to bother. And if it's done correctly, it should open up your browser and you should pop into a Q&A section. So it looks like 4 people are already there. So I'll give everyone about maybe 30 seconds. At 5 people, 7, keep going, 9, amazing, okay. People are starting to join in, 11. I think once we hit like 15 or 20, I'll start with the questions. 11, we're still stuck at 11, come on. You can do it. Grab your cameras. 12, okay. I'm gonna lower my expectation. We hit 15, I'll start. We have one new message over here. You can also access Slido via internet browser. Yes, that's an excellent point. We're at 12. 12's good enough, whatever. Okay, so let's start with the first question. Why are you here? So actually, hold on. The question you got first is, what is your confidence level in Tableau so far? So can everyone start asking that question? Let's see what happens. It's non-sequential. Okay. So first question is number 2, whatever. I clearly didn't pressure test this. So I have 18, 20. Wow, you guys are really getting in there. So on your phones, can you go ahead and click a little star and give your rating? Like, what is your confidence level so far with Tableau? 1 being, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. 5, like, it's amazing. 3, something in between. Start presenting to display the live polls on the side. Oh, is it over here? Am I doing it incorrectly? Add-ons. Allegedly. Oh, there we go. We get some answers over here. Okay. So it looks like the vast majority of people seem to be in the middle part. We have some experts over here. And then we have over there. I'm going to mess the poll up and I'm going to contribute to it. Okay, that's question number 1. Let's see if we can go on to the next question. Present with Slido. Oh, okay. I have a bit different interface now, so I'm going to do it over here. So next question is, why are you here? So I think with this question, you can go ahead and type something in. So grab your phone. Like, are you here because you want to learn something new? Are you here because you want to become a software developer? Are you here because someone forced you to come or something? But like, what's your intrinsic motivation? Gain a useful industry skill. Learn something new. Okay, that's cool. So new seems to be common. I love creative, but not artistic enough to go to branding or marketing. Oh, that's actually really intriguing. Okay. Data analysis. As a resume. Okay, so there's some really industrious people over here that genuinely want to get a job in Tableau. Okay, this is interesting. Let's keep going. We have we have how many participants? 14 or something? Lost track. 16, 17. Oh, this is starting to ramp up. Okay. Meet industry professionals. Okay. Well, let's pretend I'm one. Okay, experience in Tableau, go in the data analysis careers. That's some really serious people over here. Combining accounting with firm of analyst roles. That's actually really cool because you're basically combining multiple skill sets, and that's actually a really cool way to differentiate yourself. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. So that's poll number 1. We've already done poll number 2 because I did non-sequentially because I clearly did not practice this. I saw someone else do this in my company. I figured, hey, I can borrow that. So let's do question number 3. Do you want a job developing Tableau reports? And I forgot to clean that up. That was originally supposed to be a joke. But anyways, let's go on with it. So we have 7 people. We have some people that are honest. Okay. Okay, the nose is starting to grow a little bit. Okay, we're getting more people in the yes section. We have 18 people voting, 19, 20. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually really impressed because I was not expecting this sort of proportion. I felt it was gonna be the exact inverse. Okay, this is interesting. Because technically my team is hiring a Tableau developer. However, I think it's more for the senior role, but anyways, regardless, like you can always get started, go in the Tableau community and you will honestly get hired pretty quickly if you're really involved in LinkedIn. So you don't have to be like a data scientist. You don't have to be in computer science to get in. Like I didn't go in that domain at all. Okay, so I'm really happy we did this poll because I was not expecting that sort of answer. So now I know a little bit about you guys and your motivation. You're actually clearly very industrious. All right. So let's go back to full screen. So we've now converged at the answer of 78, almost 80% of people do want a job in Tableau. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about myself. Let's answer the question, who am I? So I'm basically a consultant at TD Insurance, and I'm based in Montreal. So I guess the benefit of that is it's actually 1 o'clock over here. So I didn't have to wake up as early. So I'm genuinely impressed about the fact that you were able to wake up early because I wasn't today. But I guess I'll take advantage of the time zone difference. And I think what's notable over here as well is I actually didn't study software engineering. Just like JR, I'm from a completely different industry. I studied civil engineering at Concordia. And even as I got into the business world when I was at TELUS, I was basically a business user that decided, hey, how hard could it be? And I learned it's actually quite hard. But anyways, I was a business user that learned how to code. So I've been developing in Tableau for almost 10 years. Back when it was kind of ugly and it wasn't very user friendly, and now it's like a million times better. And what really made me different from everyone else is I combined Tableau with storytelling with data, which basically meant how do I make things easy? How do I capture someone's attention? How do I make something memorable by focusing on their iconic memory and some other stuff like that? And for the record, I've taught probably more than 50 professionals from beginners to experts. And this is how I came up with that little methodology of monkey see, monkey do, where I do an exercise in front of me. You don't have to try to keep up with me, just watch along. And then you have to repeat it after with triple the amount of time. I've done this probably 8 different times and had to iterate every single time to make it more refined and easier. So I found that that was probably the best way to get people to be engaged with different learning curves. And fun facts. I decided to look up how many pictures of my phone are of my dog. Is about 20%. So clearly that thing on the ground that you can't see right now is probably what irritates me most. And I do not have a Netflix account. I'm probably the only person that's like this, but yeah, I think by not having a Netflix account, it's actually permitted me to go out, do running and biking and do the other things. So anyways, en tout cas, I guess the bottom line is differentiate your work, honestly, combine multiple skills and share knowledge. So I think there was someone in the comment that said they're in accounting, they wanted to figure out how to do some transferable skills. If you could present really well and you're in accounting, or if you are studying something else, you can combine that with really good presentation skills, regardless of whether it's Tableau or whether it's PowerPoint or Google Slides. Like you've already separated yourself from the pack, so it's already a great approach. Also, PS, join LinkedIn. Like you will literally, it'll make your job search much, much easier once you're in the industry. So getting to the meat and potatoes, what is storytelling with data? So I'll get your attention on the bottom left portion over here. So basic storytelling with data is making things memorable. The reality is when you give someone like a large table, like their eyes just glaze over. It's a wall of numbers. No one's gonna remember, no one's gonna care. But if you can give them, for example, a story, meals served over time. So you could say that, for example, over here, this is kind of tiny, but start with 40,000 meals. There was a little bit of a peak in 2018. There's a little bit of a drop, and now we're down to 232,000. That's a lot more memorable. The reality is, like, we've been telling stories for like, I don't know, a million years since we've been cavemen or something like that. And stories are memorable. And they help us understand relationships between things. But at the same time, you're also going to be communicating with non-technical users at some point. And your job is to take something really complicated like data and make it super easy to understand. And one of the secrets to success is finding a way to focus the user's eye. And also just making your conclusions easy to understand and just, knowing your audience anyways. And a little bit of exploratory versus explanatory analysis. I'm not sure if the last instructors went over it because I know that one of them is really, really good at exploratory analysis. So if I had to kind of summarize, what is that? It's basically when you're exploring the data to try to find out like what are the opportunities. The expression I heard is you're going to go through 100 different oysters before you find like 1 or 2 pearls. So you're gonna have a lot of dead oysters, so to speak. It's probably a really crude analogy anyways, but you're basically starting with a hypothesis or a list of questions. You're trying to find what's interesting. And ultimately is not going to be your final product. You're going to be throwing away a lot of things that are not necessarily useful. So I don't really focus on the exploratory analysis because like it's good to get familiar with the data, but it's not necessarily what the end user is going to want to see. And I think as you're developing Tableau dashboards, you're going to want to make sure, or your presentations even, you're going to want to show them the insights, but not necessarily the exploratory stuff like scatter plots and things that are hard to interpret. Whereas explanatory analysis on the right-hand side over here is you're finding a focal point, and this is what you do after you've done your exploratory analysis. So for example, over here, the author decided to focus on the top two things over here, which is the steering wheel issue vibrating and how much to play. You're prioritizing something. And you have to kind of decide, well, what does the audience really care about? And what do they want to focus on? Because if you don't, they're like, oh, okay, that's nice. And then just ignore it and move on. So you're definitely going to have to do a lot of iterations and revisions to be able to get there. If you're curious about this in a little bit more detail, there is a link that I left over there, storytelling with data, etc. But the main takeaway for this particular slide is a lot of exploratory analysis is needed before you have a clean dashboard. So unfortunately, with our session, because it's so short, I cannot necessarily show you the exploratory analysis part. I'm focusing mostly on the clean explanatory part. But what will happen is as you're building out your own dashboards, you're going to realize you have like 100, maybe not, you'll have like 20 different ideas, but you're probably going to use the top 5 of those charts, maybe 4 or less. So like, don't be afraid to throw stuff away. So you'll have to say yes to a couple of things and say no pretty often. So I normally used to do this as part of a challenge where I would show pi on the left-hand side and nothing on the right and ask you to count it. But because the feedback requested that I post the PDF online in advance, almost everyone who had the PDF would have cheated and figured out the pi thing. So I'm not going to do the challenge, but long story short, the pi challenge is how many 3s are in number pi for 50 digits. So quick little check on the, if you had to check with the left-hand side where everything's completely black, would you say that's going to be easy or hard or just annoying? So in the chat, you can just write out like really quickly, like if you had to count the 3s on the left-hand side, like what would be like the emotion that you would feel? Would be like joy, happiness, annoyance? Let's write down a few words in the chat. Let's just see what people think. Like when you have to put in like a lot of cognitive effort. Concentration. Okay, I like that word. Annoying. Amazing. Someone agrees. Annoying and too much work. Okay, agreed. What else do we have? Tedious. Getting out my reading glasses. Hurts my eyes. I like this. Okay, we're getting warmer. We get one more comment. How would this make you feel? For the record, when you're in the business world and someone sends you like a 20-paragraph email, you're like, okay, screw this. I'm not reading it. Tired. Amazing. Need to focus. Okay, now I'm going to reverse the question. If you had to go through and count how many 3s there are on the right-hand side, Google it. Amazing. I like that. So if you had to count the number of 3s on the right-hand side, would you say it's easier or harder? How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Easier? Okay, agreed. Easier. Do you have any disagreements? Easier? Everyone's saying easier. Okay. Way better. Okay, cool. So we are all in agreement. So the point of this slide over here is clever use of hue and intensity. They're examples of Gestalt principles, and this is basically how do you focus on things. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't invent any of this stuff. I just grabbed it from a book called Storytelling with Data. So anyways, I was gonna drag it down, but I'll actually show the next slide. So there's a very good reason. First off, imagine a number of you know how to drive. So maybe I'll just escape over here and I'll just talk to this really quickly. So there's a very good reason that our traffic signs have icons and symbols. Iconic memory is something that is almost like instantaneous. You see a red light, you're going to stop. You see a police car, you're probably going to slow down unless you're ambitious and enjoy jail time. Short term takes a little bit more effort, but you'll remember it. Like, I don't know, what did you have for dinner last night or whatever. Long term, hopefully remember your date of birth. Hopefully you remember like your student ID number or something. but it's not something that's completely intuitive. Whereas something that's iconic memory is almost instantaneous. You know the answer before you even think about it. It's literally within half a second. And that's kind of like one of the secrets to success when it comes towards, storytelling with data. So you have to kind of take advantage of those brain shortcuts. So the idea is you want to find a way to focus attention. And the science behind the details is what you technically see with your brain. So I talked a little bit about iconic memory and pre-attentive attributes. Like I won't go into absolute detail, but there's a very good reason that you find these things almost instantaneously. I don't know if anyone has like OCD over here, but when it comes toward pre-attentive attributes, I can guarantee in terms of orientation, if you're making a slide or something and something's a little bit crooked, you'll see it right away. So you'll find that, okay, that's the weirdo in there. Same thing for shape. If you put something inside there, like it'll be very obvious, people will recognize it. But not all of them are that powerful. The most powerful ones in general are size, intensity, and hue. The rest might take a little bit of effort or whatever. So it's just using the right place, using the information in the right place at the right time. And some best practices, I keep saying this all the time. Find a focal point and use contrast to be able to grab someone's attention. So on this slide, there might be like 20 pieces of information. You're probably going to only remember one. And the most important one is just pick a focal point. I mean, the other ones that are nice is reduce clutter and just use a lot of white space and have visual order. So your most important is your biggest font. Your least important is usually the bottom lower font because we usually read from top to bottom, left to right. And that sounds like very basic sort of stuff, but there's also some other details as well. So if you have an association with proximity, so for example, if I put two objects together, you're going to assume that they're usually associated. So bad example, if I give an apple, put an apple next to my dog, you probably assume that, well, the dog is now intended to eat the apple, which probably will in a few minutes anyways on our break. Similarity, enclosure, those are just details anyway. So main takeaway from this slide is the most easy to understand visuals. They reduce cognitive effort. So you want to use color very strategically. So what I mean by that is, please don't make your Tableau reports look like a pair of clown pants where you're using every single color possible. Like, I could use a little bit of purple or pink in here. You really don't want to do that. The best sort of color use I suggest is either to highlight something or to alert someone. So I usually recommend just make everything gray and then pick like one or two things you want to focus on. You could do a little bit of sequential stuff, which is for heat mapping, diverging, depends on your perspective on things. But anyways, if you're really, really serious and want to learn about this, I would recommend the book called The Big Book of Dashboards. It has some excellent Tableau, and that would probably get the attention of like a recruiter on LinkedIn very easily, and you could probably get like a junior position very, very fast if you're interested. But anyways, bottom line for this one is easy to understand visuals. Less is more when it comes to colors. So I did not format this well. I should have done this in white, but whatever. So what we could probably do now is, we actually did that much faster than I thought, 15 minutes. So in terms of breaks, let's assume this is a democracy. Would you like to have one break or two breaks? So in the chat, can everyone let me know if you'd like to have like a 15-minute break now, or would you like to have two 15-minute breaks? Like one now and then, I don't know, like after we exercised or something. Two breaks, none now, two. I should really rephrase this question. I mean, everyone's always going to go for more breaks anyways. Keep going now. Okay, so are we a democracy or an autocracy? I'm going to say democracy. Okay, so how about this? I know it's early in the morning. You're probably hungry. I'm hungry. So the dog. Do you want to have, I don't know, 10 minutes so you can grab your coffee, breakfast, or what have you? If you agree, say yes in the chat. If you disagree, you can say it. Yes. Nope, I'm good. Yes. Oh, so clean. I'm really sorry. Everyone's saying yes. And the majority wins. They carry more weight at this point. Okay. So let's have a 10-minute break. Okay, let's just round up. Let's just go until, let's come back at 30. So it's 1:30 over here. That means 10:30 at your place, if my timing is correct, something like that. So everyone will have 13 minutes. We'll go and we'll come back. Sound good? All right. Oh, I forgot. No one's actually like unmuted anyways. You're all polite. Okay, perfect. So let's come back in a few minutes. I'll mute my microphone. Q&A button? What does this do? What role did you have at TELUS? Oh, a lot. I started out actually their tech support when I was like 23. I became a business analyst business analyst 2 in the home services. So this is like, I mean, you guys live in BC, so basically over there it was like for TV and internet stuff, understanding the support process, whatever the sales process. And then I joined their AI division as a senior business analyst, started networking. And yeah, I think I was there for like 10 years. Like I'm really dating myself at this point. But yeah, at that point, what happened was I felt that if I stay at a company for longer than 10 years is actually restricting my financial outlook. So I decided to become a consultant, and TD Insurance was very, very happy to reach out to me, actually their first client that I had. And then they ended up hiring me, but I still try to maintain the whole consulting thing on the side while working over there. But yeah, I didn't even realize, actually, I didn't even know I could even have questions over here for the Q&A part. That was more towards the end, but okay, I learned about a new feature today. That's kind of cool. Okay, so it looks like everyone is probably back. Okay, I need a way to validate if you're actually back. So I'm gonna ask everyone like a random question. Coffee or tea? Clooney agrees she's back. Okay, tea. Both? Water? Okay, kind of good. I'm actually genuinely impressed. You guys are taking care of your health. Like I used to drink coffee, and I was convinced to try to do something else, like use David's tea, whatever. And it's been a challenge. I've been doing for 2 weeks without any coffee, and I've gotten better at it. Oh, bubble tea. Wow. Oh my God, I want bubble tea now. Okay, I know where I'm going after this. Latte. You have really good taste. 8 months to 3 days a week now. Okay, it's exam time. This is how I can tell. It's your caffeine intake. Okay, that's kind of cool. All right, let's take a look. So I'm going to exit full screen. I'll go back. Wait, no, that's a Q&A slide. Okay, so getting back, I love coffee so much. Me too. And now I can only have it if I go out to like a cafe and walk there or whatever. So that's how I'm changing that habit anyways. So what we're going to do next is we're going to build this Tableau visualization together. But because we have a little bit more time than I anticipated, we can actually go into a little bit more in-depth analysis and kind of decompose what was done over here. So I'm actually going to do something a little bit different. I am going to, we have that, my other window. Also, as a heads up, you might be wondering why I'm looking down instead of not the camera. So I have a weird setup. That gigantic monitor is terrible for presenting. So my MacBook is now dead center underneath, but the camera's really high up. So while I'm looking down, I promise I'm not actually multitasking. It's just all my supporting windows at the top part, and the bottom is the Mac. So whatever. Yeah, it's amazing. Apparently it's been used for like 5 years and it's still going. It's just better than the potato camera you get on a MacBook, which is horribly outdated. But anyways, all right. So I need to actually train you on Tableau stuff. So I'm going to open up a Tableau workbook, and we're going to decompose it before we start actually building it. And my laptop is starting to overheat, but I'm hoping I'm sharing the correct screen anyways. Do you guys see the screen at the bottom or the top? Like, do you see the Tableau right now? I'm going to assume probably a yes. Okay, perfect. So you're seeing the bottom screen, not the top screen. Perfect. Okay, so it's doing a little bit of analysis on this. So I'm going to bring up this thingy. No, I'm actually going to bring my PowerPoint slide instead. Hold on, where are you? Too many windows. Is that PowerPoint? Yeah, I probably lost it. I minimized it. Okay. So the slide that I was talking about over here, which is focusing attention. So proximity, similarity, and closure. Anyways, we'll just focus on this. So you guys might notice over here that there's a section I call the big ass numbers. Not the best name in the world, but you basically make an assumption that because these numbers are so large, you focus your attention on the first thing up here, and then the measure whatever you figure out what it means after. But because they're all in the same row, you assume that they're all associated. The same thing over here. I'm sure I should be able to ask this question over here. So based on with the Command Shift 5. So based on this section over here, which I'm trying so hard to highlight, which production company gets your attention first? So you just go ahead and write that in the chat. My laptop is super overheating now, but okay. Disney, Disney, Disney. So we all agree. The first thing you notice is the big blue thing. And what's interesting about this is you can actually figure out the story behind it. Actually, maybe before I begin, I actually had an IMDb data set, and I needed something that was relevant to everyone, something that everyone else enjoys. So first off, over here, who has a Netflix account? Let's type in yes, or like who here watches Netflix or whatever. I've never seen someone write yes so quickly, like everyone, with one exception, okay. Okay, perfect. So it means I found something highly relevant. So you all have watched at least one Disney movie in your life. Hopefully more than just Frozen. So what's interesting about Disney is like they were highly irrelevant back in the 2000s. So at that point, like people were not paying attention to them. They were not making many movies, and they were starting to catch up. The movie industry was getting a little bit better, but they had a pause where they weren't doing very much. So it's interesting because Disney is like extremely big now, and there was like 2 monumental events that happened. So I mean, the answer is right in front of you, but what do you think happened in 2009 that got their attention? Let's write it out in the chat and let's see what happens. Okay, someone's adding me on LinkedIn. I'll agree. Purchase Marvel. Marvel, yep, agreed. So the answer is actually written over here. Disney purchased Marvel. So you're 100% correct. So yeah, that's one of the reasons. And then what happened in 2012 that started making their movies even more popular? I'll give you a hint. Okay, great. Some people are actually paying attention to the visual. Amazing. Purchase Lucasfilm. So Lucasfilm is the Frozen. I mean, I partially agree with you because I think Frozen is one of these over here in the bottom part. Okay, Frozen made $401 million. So Allison, you're partially correct. I can't disagree with you because fine, Frozen did make some good money. That song is horrible. I had to sing it once. Anyways, point being, like this illustrates a little bit of a story because what happened is peak sales happened in 2012. And the movie industry has actually been going on a downward trend in terms of the box office, but Disney, regardless of the situation, has continued to get bigger and bigger. And now they own 1/4 of the movie pie, which is a big industry. So just something to think about. And this visual is very simple because there's actually, in that data set we're about to show you, there's going to be, I don't know, like 550 different movie studios. If I was with 550 bars over here, you would just not pay attention and say, okay, screw it, I'm not paying attention. So this is an example of simplification. And this one over here, I just thought was a cool idea because tree maps are starting to become a little more popular, but you're starting to see, okay, well, size is one principle we're looking at, and also color. So who here has seen at least one of the blue movies? Star Wars, Avengers, Iron Man, Captain America, whatever, Thor. Has anyone seen any of the blue movies? Yes, yes. There is not a single person that's going to say no. Okay, perfect. So this data set's highly relevant over here. How did Zootopia make $341 million? Like, I dispute that fact. That was a terrible movie, but whatever. Okay, one person did not. Okay. Monsters University. I genuinely question the sales of some of these things. I'm not sure I agree with it. But anyways, some of them actually have really interesting things because not only do they generate high revenue, but they also had a good rating. And you can do a scatter plot for the exploratory part. Maybe we'll have time for it, but anyways. All that to say, we're now going to work backwards and go ahead and build this thing. So first off, I'm going to ask everyone to have the Tableau workbook open. So I'm not sure if everyone has the access to the file itself. So I'm just going to grab a link. I think I dumped it on Google Drive. So I'm going to share a link with everyone. I don't know if you have to have like a Google account to access this. So just give it a quick check. Anyone on the internet can view this. So hopefully if people that are in BC can view it. So can everyone download the Tableau workbook file from over there? It should be called How Did Disney Dominate the Industry? You can download it. I think 2/3 of you are using Windows 10, so it'll pop up into your downloads folder. If you're on a Mac, it'll also be your downloads folder. I'm pretty confident the vast majority of you know how to find your downloads. So once you have the Tableau workbook open, can you go ahead and type in yes? Okay, you guys are really fast. Wow, some of you already opened it up. So this is giving me the impression that a large number of you have actually checked Slack like one day before. Okay, no, it won't open for me. Uh-oh, that's not good. Clooney, you may have to unmute yourself, but are you using Tableau public or something? You may have to open Tableau first and then open that file second. Oh, it's okay now? Okay, cool, perfect. All right, do you have any more yeses? If we get 2 more yeses, I'll continue with the actual build process. Yes, okay. We'll give like another minute or so. Okay, perfect. Just a sec, it's still opening. Okay, no worries. So the good news is anyways, as I'm going through this stuff with you guys, you're not gonna have to like try to anxiously try to keep up with me because I already pre-recorded the videos. So on slide number 13, which I'm gonna share with everyone over here, you have like a little YouTube style play videos. So hopefully I'm not gonna get sick of my voice, but you can go full screen. You can change screen resolution. I think by default 1080p or whatever. You can pause, fast forward, rewind, etc. So the advantage of this method I find is like when I was in university and I remember like studying civil engineering and trying to follow along with the professor, sometimes you would overlook a detail and then be like, oh crap, I don't know what he just said, and just kind of move along. And it kind of sucked that I couldn't pause, rewind, or fast forward. So I figured, okay, if you're like, this is not your first priority, first of all, you probably have other things you're studying, but you want to have the ability to record, be able to rewind things and just go over in more detail. So as an example, when I do exercise number 1 in front of you, so I'm going to ask you to be like hands off the keyboard, just watch me for the first time that I do it. So if it takes me 5 minutes, I'll give you 15 minutes. So you have triple the amount of time. And I'll leave the solution up in front of you, but you'll also have this link over here to that slide. So let me just make sure that everyone has access to that slide first. So just to be on the safe side, get link, sure, copy. Okay. So I'm gonna paste in the link over here. Can everyone let me know if they can access slide 13 and if they can pause video number 1 really quickly? I'll give everyone a few minutes just to make sure we all get kind of familiar with that process. Yes, okay, that's 1, that's good. That's 2, so we don't have any technical issues. That's a good sign. 3, 4. I think what this is also telling me subconsciously, you guys already watch a lot of YouTube videos as it is. So like putting a video full screen is not going to be a challenge for you. And yes, I have worked with people that had struggled to open YouTube videos. Thank God I'm teaching people, and they're, anyways, a different demographic, but anyways, yes. So it sounds like you're able to technically handle this whole process. So again, I hope you're not sick of my voice, but you're going to be hearing it a lot today. So anyways, this will make the learning process a little bit better because I can guarantee some of you will be super fast, and maybe some even watched the videos yesterday on their phone. I just realized yesterday as I was looking at Slack on my phone that, oh, I can watch these videos here, but I'm sure you have better things to do anyways. So what I'm gonna do is I'll do the exercise first, and it'll be so it'll be monkey see, monkey do. So I'm the first monkey. So I'm gonna do the exercise. You're just gonna watch me just so you can kind of understand high level what we're doing, and then you're gonna repeat it after. So in the workbook over here, I also have my cheating notes on top so I can remember how I did this. So if I look up and down, you know which monitor I'm looking at. So I'm gonna go back to the workbook over here. So I'm gonna go to the first exercise, number 1. I would say this is like a number 2 in terms of difficulty because we're not doing any calculations. So we're gonna create the big ass numbers over here, like that. So we're gonna go to the big ass numbers. So we need to ask everyone hands off keyboard, just watch. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drag out the measure names to the columns like that. And then the measure values to the numbers. But the thing is, I don't like these headers over here. I want them to be a little bit lower. So the measure names will go into text for a second time, and now nothing fits. Just need to drag it. So it's starting to look a little bit better. It's still kind of ugly, but let's see if we make it better. So these headers, I don't like them. So I'm going to click over here and then uncheck show header. And don't worry, you don't need to memorize this stuff. It's getting better, but I think it could be a little bit nicer. But also I want to make sure it's the correct measurements I'm looking at. So the number of movies, I'm going to put it over here. And the next one for the box office revenue, I'm going to throw it away. Actually, no, I need the box office. This is 2016. Yeah, let me just throw it away. Go away. The second one is going to be the box office revenue. Then at least one award. At least one award, one. Okay, that's good. Nominations are good. IMDb rating. I don't care about the votes. So these numbers look a little bit weird because I probably should have showed this to you first, but in terms of the data set itself, it is basically 1 row per movie. You can answer a lot of other questions with this, but I had to narrow the focus for you guys. And I wanted to focus on Disney, but yes, you can actually go to the movie URL. You can talk about genres, languages. If you want to look at the sequence of what this actually is about, whatever, you can do that. So we'll be talking a lot about the production company stuff. And for the record, there's 500 companies in here. I cleaned it up for you because you do not want to deal with the messiness of that. You could answer other questions with this. You can say, are average movie is getting smaller or shorter or whatever. But anyways, this is what the data looks like. So this high level, we want to figure out the measurements we're interested in. So the first thing is, well, I don't want it for all movies. I want it just for the production company of Walt Disney. And you're going to want to use the production company top 5. So you can, or whichever, as long as you can search for Walt Disney. Oh, that is weird. Well, that was not supposed to happen. Production company. So let's try this one over here. Okay, so Walt Disney. Voila. Okay. So now I have 89 movies and it's starting to look a little better, but I could probably make it a little prettier. So I can grab the text button over here. And now I'm just going to do a little bit cleanup. So the values is actually the wrong position. It should be on top. Command V, put that in the center. Bold. And I'm going to make this like, I don't know, a size 22. Okay, so we'll make it a little bit wider. It's all black right now. So we're going to make some final adjustments. Jesus, that number must be really big. Okay, so maybe this 13 million is a little bit weird looking. So I'm going to right click and go to format and put this to currency custom. And I'm going to put display units as billions. And last thing is for the color text. I can make it like that. There we go. The last thing is I don't really like this header, these lines over here. So I'm going to right click over here and go to format. And I believe it is the lines. Yeah, sorry, it's this border thing. Then it is the row border. I'm going to get rid of that. And I also don't really want the tooltip because it's not really adding any value. Like, user doesn't need that for this one anyways. Let's get rid of it. So basically that's how you create the big ass numbers. It's basically just formatting by moving measure names around, dragging and dropping things and just coloring things. I guess the last step is you probably want to center this stuff. So align center and center like that. So that took me about, I don't know, 5 minutes. So I'm going to ask everyone to do the same. If you run into an issue with the production company, just grab production company top 5 or sorry, the one over here, production company, this thing, in case you get an error. Let's give that a shot. And so I'll set a timer for 15 minutes. And so what I would recommend that you do is I'll leave this up over here. And if you want to pause, rewind, fast forward, use this exercise. So let's give everyone 15 minutes. I'm actually going to also unmute everyone, or if you need to speak up, like just like, how do I get everyone to unmute? But yeah, if you need to speak up, like message me in the chat or like talk and I'll be able to answer questions. Let's give it a shot. I'll give everyone like, 15 minutes. Set a timer for 15 minutes. Oh, also do me a favor, I need a feedback loop. So like once you're done creating the visual, to say done in the chat, just so I have an idea if you need more time or less time. If I see like one person done, that means we need more time. Just as a heads up, people that are finishing really quickly, you now officially have like additional breaks. For the record, I didn't think this through. I'm running out of emojis, so I may have to reuse them. Oh, like in the pill thing over here? I have a question because my measure names shows up twice. This is like in the text box thing. Oh, if it comes in twice, you can just erase it. You can be lazy. Like, let's say, for example, it's here like that, just erase it. And then you're good.
It's actually like, so I already did like basically like everything, like I already got the numbers like the way like how you're showing it.
Okay.
It's just like on top of like under the title, for some reason like it's like the columns like it's like it still shows like, so like I have like 89 number of movies, right? Like what you have.
Okay.
But then on top of that, there's like, it also says like number of movies again. So
Oh, okay. I see you have headers. So what you have over here is this thing, right?
uh yeah.
Oh, gotcha. So what you want to do, you want to click on measure names in the columns thing over here,
Mm-hmm.
and then uncheck show header.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
There we go. I don't think I can copy and paste screenshots into the chat, but if I could, I would just would have done that. There we go. That's a good example.
Okay, yeah, that works. Thank you.
Perfect. Oh, for the record, the title, don't worry about this. Like, we're going to remove that after anyway. So as long as you can reproduce this, you're good.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there an issue if I put measure names in the filter, but not the column? So the measure names, don't worry about putting them over here. As you're dragging and dropping things, you're automatically just throwing them away. So I would say just focus on the measure values here. Looks the same overall. Oh, you're fine. As long as it looks the same, that's what matters. So you're good. Like this one just updates automatically, so I would ignore that for now. Okay, amazing. So we have 2.5 minutes remaining. Seems like a lot of people are starting to finish up. Let me just do a quick check. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, 8. Let's give it a few more minutes. Maybe I'll extend it. Okay, it's 9, 10. Okay, good. 11, 12, 13. How did you get rid of the lines? Okay, that's pretty straightforward. So you gotta right click on this and then go to formats. And then you should have lines. And then you grab rows over here. Oh wait, sorry. You need to grab borders here. Then rows, then you can basically set this row divider to none. Wait, Command Shift 5. Like that. For the record, formatting is always a little bit finicky. I mean, 80% of the time you're spending in Tableau is to find the oddball formatting thing. As long as you can get the big numbers and change the color, good enough. If you have a few lines, it's okay. But yeah, for sure you want to right click and then go to format. And then you'll have borders. Espresso Thanos, your machine needs to be descaled. Maybe another time. Okay. Are you good for the removal of the lines with the format method? And yes, I do have a Tableau cup. This is what happens when you work for a company. They start sending you random things. Trying to center now? Oh, okay. Centering, you're going to want to click on the text box and then align there. So I'm actually going to give everyone an additional 5 minutes. Set a timer for 5 minutes so we can get more people to the done state. Ideally, if we can get like 15 people of the 20, I think, to done. And also, if you need any help, just like feel free to unmute yourself. Okay, perfect. I lost count. I don't know how many done we have anymore. Okay, let me start over. We're getting more. This is a good sign. Okay, hold on. Let's see. I lost track of my dones. I wish I can delegate this to someone else. Is there a way to change box office revenue to 13 billion? Mine's in millions. Oh, okay. So what you're going to do, you're going to right click on box office revenue and go to formats. And then you're going to switch it over to number currency. And I think by default it's set to millions, but you can swap it over to billions. It looks, I think you're actually right. Aesthetically, it looks a little better in the billions range. If you're mean and a terrible person, you can set it to none and then have like a gigantic number with an infinite number of zeros. 16 done. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I think the vast majority of people are comfortable. Let's do a quick ranking on a scale of 1 to 5 in terms of difficulty. 1 being, oh my God, this is the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. And 5 being, okay, this was pretty easy. 4, okay. So let's see, we have 5. Okay, so this means good. So 4.5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5. With a video, 5, okay. Formatting was tricky. Yeah, oh, I agree. Formatting in Tableau is finicky. So we have generally about 4 or 5. So I have a question for everyone over here. Do you find that having to follow along individually or the video, like do you find the video methods working for you guys? You can say yes or no. Yes? Yes. Okay, I have an exclamation mark. Wow, there's a lot of yeses. Okay, perfect. So it looks like for online training, video is definitely the way to go to pre-record. You might have also noticed I'm speaking very quietly. I record this stuff at like 11 o'clock at night. Like I did this like literally Thursday or something. And it might sound a little bit lethargic. I was a little tired. So I apologize if my voice sounds annoying, but I think get the job done. Both are fine, but couldn't see the videos that well. All right, so the videos were recorded at a very high resolution because MacBook screen or whatever. So it probably makes it a little bit challenging depending on which one you're seeing. So I know the numbers might look a little bit tiny, so it's a little bit grainy. Okay, perfect. Good, so we agree. Okay, excellent. Let's move on. Perfect, so we have more people done. So the big ass numbers are done, which is a little bit of the weird ones. So the next one we're going to focus in on is probably the focal point of the dashboard, which is Disney's box office dominance began in 2009. So we're going to build this one together. I don't know why I just took a screenshot of it, but anywho. So I'm going to go over to the production company bar chart. No, that's bar chart, sorry. Area charts. I had them in the wrong order. It's area chart that I want. Okay, so this one over here, I'm going to start off with the box office release date, and I'm going to drag it over to columns. And I notice it's blue, but I don't want it to be blue. I want it to be not discrete, but continuous. So that'll swap it over. So now it'll be a nice straight line. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to now filter for just the production company being Walt Disney, because we don't want to really focus on the others. I apologize if you're a fan of whatever Warner Brothers, but most of what you can do. Now we're going to talk about box office. No, not 2016. We're going to take the box office revenue and throw it into the charts. All right, I made a mistake. Sorry, the filter, we don't want that there. We want to get rid of that. So this is our area chart for everyone. And now I want to switch this over to area instead. So this is now for uniformly for everyone, but maybe it's not quite what we're looking for. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to exclude 2017 because I have partial data over there. So I'm going to right click and then exclude because it's just not convenient. And now enter the level of detail. I want to use the production company top 5. I hope this works. Okay, that's not the timer. We don't need it. And I can drop it over to color. And you guys are very lucky. I've already pre-formatted the colors for you. So it looks like everything's good. We're just gonna remove this null, go away. Right click, hide indicator, okay. But it's also in the wrong position. I like this to be higher up. So what I'm gonna do over here is I'm gonna go over here to production company and then go to sort. And I'd like it not to be in some sort of weird random order. I like this to be by field, which is by the box office revenue. And you guys are super lucky it's doing it by default right away. So it's low effort. Now the rest is all formatting stuff. So I don't really like this year of box release date thing. Like that's trivial. So I'm just gonna right click on that and erase it. The next is, I don't like these grid lines. I think they're distracting. So I'm gonna right click and format, then go to lines and then grid lines, bye-bye. And for the record, if you get the wrong one, you can always clear it just in case. So if you notice that something is bolded, it means you change the default value. So it's a good way to swap back. Okay, what else do we have over here? What happened in 1999? What the heck was over there? Anyways, whatever, if it's there, I don't mind. So you can also put this in the billions range if you really wanted to. I mean, I didn't do in the video, but in case you want to practice, we'll do currency custom, decimal place, and I'll do this in billions. Looks a little bit more fancy now. And the next thing is, well, I want to have those little custom lines. So this is where I'm going to go to analytics, and I'm going to drag in a reference line relative to the year. So this little thing you're noticing is turning orange. Now, if I drag it over, it's going to say, well, do I want to calculate it? No, I'll take a constant. Oh, I put the wrong place. Wait, why is a year like this? Okay, I'll work with it. Did I make a mistake with this? Oh, I did make a mistake. I'm sorry. I supposed to put this a year over here like that. Okay, so year, this thingy over here. So I'll take a screenshot and show this to you guys. But yeah, make sure it's that one. So now my constant line will actually do something relevant. So drag it over here and now recognize this. Oh my God, it's a date. Amazing. Can you pick a date for me? So I did some homework behind the scenes. So I want to understand, like, when did Disney purchase Marvel? So I just did a quick Google search. I know it's 2008. Like that. And I want to change our label from 2008 to something more meaningful. So this one will be a custom, and I'm just going to say over here that this is Disney purchased Marvel. I don't really care about the tooltip, whatever. And I would prefer it to be dotted line. This is a little more aesthetically pleasing. And I don't really want it in the center now. So I'm going to right click on it and go to format. I want the alignment to be middle. So that's one of the little reference lines. Wait, this ice release date, I don't know what this thing is. Go away. And I'll do another reference line for the year. And this one will be a constant. And I believe Disney purchased Lucasfilm back in 2012, which is why the revenue was so much nicer a few years later. We'll figure out which movie it was. The custom label over here is going to be Disney purchased Lucasfilm. I really hope that you like, what do you call that thing? Chewbacca. So put a dotted line over here, so it's consistent. And the last step over here is, well, we want a title that's a little bit more descriptive, because if I looked at this, maybe it's not entirely obvious like what I'm talking about, what I'm rambling on about. So most people are going to say that they're going to call this like Disney area chart. And I'm going to say, well, try harder. Like, what's your conclusion over here? So my conclusion over here is Disney's box office dominance began in 2009 with the purchase of Marvel. And I think this is like a size 20 font or something. Probably. And there we are, voila. So I forgot how long this took me. General rules apply that you guys get triple the amount of time that I do. So I'm gonna encourage you guys now to do the same thing, and just watch out for that one mistake that I made. When you throw in the box office release date, when it's a discrete thing, it looks, I mean, you can get away with it being there, but I would just recommend just switch it over to like year to make it continuous. Yeah, just drop it like that. So I'll leave this one over here. This is a friendly reminder. So let's set a timer for 15 minutes and I'll check in with everyone here. Yeah, 5 minutes is how I did the video, so 15 for you guys. So let's go ahead and get started. Set a timer for 15 minutes. And same ground rules apply. If you have any questions, throw them into the chat. If you have any questions as well, you can also speak up as well, unmute yourself, that kind of thing. And in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my thing. How do you have colors on the chart? Oh, I dragged the production company to colors and it automatically did it. So I did it before you guys in advance. But what I did is I mean, technically what I did is I went to Seattle Grays and then I decided, well, I found a palette and I was like, okay, I want to focus on Disney anyways. So then I picked like a random color that I just thought was not a TELUS color and not a TD color. So I could not pick purple and green. I could not pick green and orange. So I picked blue. Mine is a line chart. Oh, so it's because right now you have it set to automatic. So you need to switch it over to area. Like that. Command Shift 5. That thingy. Got it? All right, perfect. If you're faster than me to try and take a screenshot on Mac OS. Like I can take a screenshot on my phone pretty fast. Mac OS, depends. I think Command Shift 4 is better. Like that. There you go. All right, perfect. Where's the cat? Oh, the vertical lines that's inside analytics. And you're going to want to take probably a constant line or reference line, whatever. Yeah, you could do a custom or a reference. Let's just say reference line just because I have a habit of doing that. There we go. So you will want Command Shift 5, that thingy. Let me know if you're good, if you want more details or something. I see that, but what do I do then? You're gonna want to drag the reference line into the canvas area and then grab like the year orange thingy. And then set it to constant. And that will allow you to move it around. Does that help? No, it didn't work. Okay. You might want to unmute yourself so I can maybe ask a few questions. So let me delete this reference line while I ignore my dog. Okay. So Clooney, what you're doing is when you are dragging the reference custom line, are you getting like a little box over here that says add a reference line with year?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then if you drop it into like table with year.
Yeah, I've done that.
So then you get a view like this. Like, do you see like it's already selected?
Yep. Yep. Get all that.
Perfect.
Then we make it into constant.
Yeah, so if you grab constant, is it giving you like a date value over here?
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, but not that one, but yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you're getting a date value. You can either like use a menu, it'll take you forever to get to 2008, sorry, 2000, was it 2009? I made a mistake. It was 2009, that
Okay.
Disney.
So you just change it to 2009.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, now it's put it in, but now we have to make it into like a dotted line.
Yeah, exactly. You can do that with.
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
You got it? Okay, perfect. So quick edit. I realized I'm actually inaccurate when I did the 2008. Anything with 2008 financial crisis. It's actually 2009 that Disney purchased Marvel. So we just made a quick little edit over here. I can go in the details after, but there we are. Excellent. Okay, so I'll mute myself until more questions come up, but feel free to speak up or to type things in, and we'll go through it step by step. So to move the line labels, my Disney purchase Marvel label ended up at the bottom. Yeah, okay, so if you're watching the alignment, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on the line and then go to format. So basically I set the custom, and I changed it from automatic because automatic defaults it to the bottom. I said, okay, I want to force it to the center or something. So you want to grab that and grab alignment. So doing it again for everyone. So I'm going to right click on the line in question, and then go to format, and then I'll go to alignment and the middle. Good. All right, amazing. I'm happy you guys are asking questions because some people are a little bit shy to speak up. So odds are if you have a question, there's probably 5 other people with the same question. Or so I believe. Command Shift 5. Amazing. Okay, so put that there. Oh, you guys are still like have 7 minutes. You guys can take your time. So, Duka. Also, because I'm from Quebec, I speak Franglish, so I switch between English and French interchangeably sometimes. So if it's becoming annoying, like let me know. Amazing. It means we have other people over here as well. If it helps, my dog is bilingual, so she listens to both commands. Well, if you have an average line, you could basically, sure. Hey Raj, if you have extra time, you could show our students how to upload the dashboard to Tableau Public. I'm gonna say maybe. Oh, horizontal line, okay. So if you have, so if we have extra time, I will show how to do Tableau Public. An average line just arrived. So what might have happened, Clooney, is you might have dragged the reference line to not year, but something else. The first check, you might want to unmute yourself. I'm sorting the production top 5. The sorting
Yeah,
production.
it just, I don't know, it just arrived. And when I go back, it doesn't just go.
Oh, if you have an extra one, you can just right click on it and delete it. Or remove, excuse me.
Remove, okay. Okay, yeah, perfect, thank you.
Excellent. Next one is Ivan. I'm sorting my production top 5 chart, but it's not updating the area chart. So for the production top 5, so Ivan, you may need to unmute yourself. Doing one step at a time. So right now, do you only have one color in production?
Yeah, I've got one color.
Okay, so you have production company top 5. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm actually gonna clear the sort. I'm gonna do it in front of you. So I'm gonna click on production company top 5, which is in color.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go to sort.
Sort. Yeah.
And by default, it's data source order, which is kind of useless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm going to change it over to field.
Yeah.
And then it'll be box office revenue ascending.
Yeah. Yeah, I got that.
Okay, perfect. So when you look on the right hand side, did the order change the blue things on top?
No.
It is?
No. No. Didn't change. No. And I also don't have an area chart. I just have lines.
Okay, I see. So what happened over here is you have it probably in the automatic mode. So you want to swap it over to area. Can you give that a shot?
Yeah. Oh, okay, now it worked. Now it worked. Yeah.
All right, amazing.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Next question. How can we move the Disney purchase Marvel system in the middle? Okay, so this is very similar. So we're going to right click on the line and then go to format. And we're going to change the alignment. So by default, if I do this, by default, it's always to the bottom. But if I want to switch it to the middle, I can go to alignment and then go over here for vertical and switch it to middle like that. Perfect. Amazing. And now you guys know exactly why I pre-recorded all the videos, because I could not answer 40 questions at a time. Again, this is the 10th time I've done this. The first time I did this, I was overwhelmed. The second time I had an assistant. The assistant was overwhelmed. Then I thought, okay, I'm just going to record stuff, and life was easier. So yeah, technology to the rescue. Oops. So quick thing for my own feedback. Can you let me know when you're done your chart by typing the word done? If I see that's not enough done, so I'll give you guys more time and then we'll slow down a bit. We have 1 done, 2 done, 3 dones, 4 dones, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think this chart was a little bit trickier because I asked you guys to do annotation and things that you weren't really expecting, but they're very powerful when you can do them. But for sure, it makes things a bit tricky. I think I lost count. 9, I think. Ideally, I'd like to get to 15. I have a null value. What should I do? Oh, so that's pretty easy. So you're going to right click on null and then ask to hide it. Nulls are annoying sometimes. So yeah, just if you see like a null indicator on the bottom right-hand side, very good. Okay, perfect. How do I get my trend lines to be colored in? Yeah, no worries. So I think the most common thing is like your marks area might be on automatic. So you want to switch it over to area. So if I do it on automatic, it looks kind of weird. So area. So Tableau is trying to make assumptions on what you're trying to do. You have to explicitly tell it what to do. Does that help, Christina? Okay, amazing, perfect. I lost count. I think we're at 11 done. I don't want to recount. I'm lazy. Can someone please do it for me? This is delegating. 12 done. Okay, 13. We'll wait until 15. I hope these are like legit done. They're not like superficial ones because you want to feel cool or something, but you're actually like found the videos useful and stuff. If not, like if I see someone mark down done within like 30 seconds, like I'm going to be a little bit suspicious. But it's okay. I think you guys actually legit did the exercises because I think the first done came in like the 10-minute mark. At the same time, I'm really happy you guys are asking questions because it's showing like things that aren't necessarily obvious, and I'm sure it impacts other people as well. So if one person asks, you probably are answering the question for like 3 or 4 people. So 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. So my timer is just went off. Do we need an additional 5 minutes, or would you like to continue with the bar chart? I think I have 15 people out of there. How many do we have? 20? I forgot, like 20-ish participants. Done, 16. Let's get like 2 more minutes. Set a timer for 2 minutes. So you guys are lucky. I actually paid attention to the feedback and wanted to make sure you guys have time. Like if we don't have time for everything, it's totally cool. We can go, if you're okay with going past, I can go past. And also I lost track of time. Sorry, I lost track of dones. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17? Or maybe. I think that's acceptable. Okay, we have the majority of people. I think 17 is acceptable. Cancel timer. Good, thank you, Siri. Okay, perfect. Let's move on to the next exercise. So this one is going to be a little bit easier. Actually, before I even go there, I wanted some feedback from you guys. I'm a big believer in the feedback loop. So on a scale of 1 to 5, how do you feel about the difficulty level of the area chart? 1 being extremely easy, sorry, 1 being extremely hard. I did the reverse. 1 being extremely hard, 5 being easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay, we'll admit Olivia, sure. 3, 3, 4, 3, 4. Okay, so the area chart was a little bit more challenging. Okay, I see. I agree. You're gonna laugh how easy the tree chart is. If I can get you guys to a 4 and 5 on that one will make me laugh. Okay. So we agree that this was a little bit more involving because there's a lot of things that could be error prone, plus the annotations were not easy, but I think now that you know about them, when you're doing your own sort of visualizations, it'll make things better for you because the annotations are actually what's really valuable. To quote an executive I used to work with, he said, "I hate it when people bring me the weather report, show me the news." What he meant by this is when people are showing him basically tables of numbers and there's no explanation and no commentary, he doesn't want to look at it. He wants to know like why things happen. So you want to get to the root cause. So yeah, Disney is dominating, but well, why? I mean, the real value is this because people are like, oh my God, I know these movies, I've watched them. And then you have proof from the bottom. So you start high level over here to understand your metrics. You show a little bit of a trend. And this is just supporting, and then you're like details. Okay, so let's move on to the next exercise. So the next one over here is going to be Disney accounted for nearly 1/4 of all revenue on the right-hand side. So what's interesting about this view over here is it's a very clean view because you have like 500 members in there. But you're simplifying it such that it's very obvious that Walt Disney's on the top side. And I squished all the other 400 in here. So let me go ahead and show you how I did that. So big disclaimer over here, I'm not here to teach you something called sets. I'm not going to teach you any complex calculations because I need this to be as easy and as user-friendly as possible. If you have questions down the road, like, hey, I would like to learn sets, or hey, I'd like to see how you simplify this, like message me on LinkedIn or message me on Slack and I'll teach you. But for general purposes, like we'll make this easy peasy. So I'm gonna go to production bar chart over here. So for the bar chart over here, I'm gonna first start off by dropping over the box office revenue into, I believe it's columns. And this is a big number, but I need to segment it further. And the same thing is like, the first thing is I don't want the year to be all the years. I want it for 2016 only. So let me just start off first with the title. So I have a reference point. Disney accounted for nearly 1/4 of all box office revenue in 2016. And the reason I'm doing this is because the last part on the area chart is 2016. So I want it to be related to that. So 20 bold, yeah, second black, okay, perfect. So for the box office release date, I'm gonna drag and drop it over to filters. And I want a specific year. So I'm gonna grab a year and I'm gonna pick 2016 only. And the numbers start dropping down. Okay, that's good. So $5.8 billion. So now I want to be able to segment this. So for the record, I cleaned this data up a lot. There was like literally like way too many companies, but I want to just focus on the top 5. So let me just illustrate something over here. So you won't be using this little paperclip one, but so the data actually has like a lot of companies, and this is not very user-friendly. It wouldn't even fit in your dashboard. And this is even a cleaned up version. So this thing actually had over 500, and I don't want you guys to sort through 500. So let's get rid of that one. I want the top 5. So this is way simpler and easier. We're gonna make this a little bit taller because it's kind of narrow. Maybe not that tall. So now I want to sort this by largest to smallest because that's still not ideal. So I can either click on the little button over here for that, just by the lazy way. I mean, I'd recommend that, or you can right click, go to sort. Nah, let's not even do that. Let's just use the button over here, be lazy. And the next thing is, well, I want this other to be at the bottom. I don't like it being on top. So this is a set that you can kind of cheat. What a set does is tells you, well, okay, is something in or is it out? So is it in the top 5? Yeah, then okay, fine, stay over here. If it's not, then put it there. So this forces it down to the bottom, but I don't want my user to see this. Like this is my little hack. So I'm gonna click on that, show header to hide it. Now it's forced down to the bottom. And now, right now, these values are just a dollar value, but no one's actually gonna memorize dollar values. They wanna know percentages. So table calculations are your best friend. This will be percent of total. So now this is basically percentages, and if I hover, well, it's a percent. So now what will happen is, okay, this is the keyboard shortcut that I'm sure you guys are gonna forget, but I'll remind you. I'll even type it in over here. If you want to duplicate a pill, hold the control button plus drag the pill to duplicate it. I'm writing this down because historically I've always seen people forget this question, how to do this. Or command if you're a Mac user. Or command if you're a Mac user, which I am today. So I'm going to duplicate this because I want this to be in the label. So I'm holding command, and then all of a sudden, this is still here, but I duplicated it by holding command over. So now it's in percentages, but I'll clean up the formatting after. And I want the box office revenue to come into label for a second time. Now it's very critical that you do this in the right order, because if you drag something here twice, like there's a little triangle thingy over here. If you can see that, the triangle thing means you did a table calculation. So now I have a percentage and I have a value. The percentage, am I going to memorize 22.99? No, not really. You make that a little bit more aesthetically pleasing by reducing it down to a percentage with 0 decimal places. And I mean, the millions, I guess you can kind of leave it the way it is, 1.342 million. Oh, it was direct message. Why did I direct message Francine Sue? I'm sorry. Oops. Guess I'm not doing this correctly for the direct messaging. Participants can chat well, everyone public. Okay, well, I want to mess with that. Okay. So anyways, next thing I'm going to do is going to do a little bit of cleanup over here. So first off, I don't like these things are too small. I want to make my labels a little bit different. So I'm going to click on label, 3 dots, and the percent of whatever, for some reason it's the bottom, it shouldn't be. It should actually be on the top. So I'm going to put that there. So my percentage is on top and the numbers on the bottom. And I actually want my number, my percentage to be the first thing that they see. So this should be a lot more dominant. So it should be like size 12, bold, maybe 10, maybe I'm overdoing it. And then the bottom will be like a size 8. It doesn't need to be as big as a detail. So the primary metric is the percentage. The lower one is something else. Maybe we'll do 11. I don't know. We'll play with it. So now the first thing you notice is, I see a big percentage and I see something in the details. Like this is actually very useful because a lot of people don't realize you can have multiple measures in Tableau. And now the font, I like it to align with the mark color. They're all the same colors. And then the last few steps is I'd like to focus on Walt Disney because it's not obvious where I should look. Maybe I should make it more obvious. So to the production company top 5 and I'll go to color. And voila, it's already colored for you. So it'll automatically highlight Disney. And I think we'll all agree that this is, some parts are now redundant. Like this percentage in the bottom is useless. I can right click on it and say, well, I don't want you, go away. And these lines over here are distracting. So I can right click on that and then go to format. And then I can go to lines over here and none. So there we are. So what will happen is your common failure point is you'll do the table calculation over here, say a little triangle, but you may forget to hold a control or command button. So again, I'll remind everyone again, if you want to duplicate something, you hold command or control. And I'm sure you're gonna ask the question, but don't worry if you do, if you forget, just ask in the comment, sorry, in the chat and we'll answer it. So this one took me 6 minutes. So I'll say another 15 for everyone over here. So I'll set a timer for 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and get started. Set a timer for 15 minutes. Oh, okay, I suck. I was messaging directly instead of publicly.
Hey Raj.
Hey there.
Hey, I'm not seeing sets on my Tableau.
The top 5 companies, whatever.
Yeah.
You might need to scroll down. Not sure. Like you have dimensions and measures on the left-hand side.
Yep.
Okay. If you don't have that, it shows under tables at the top for mine. Oh,
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, I see it in there then.
I have no clue where it is. It's a different version. I guess the Windows version. That's weird. I know the Windows are hard for work, but anyways, luckily you have your lovely peers to help you out with that. I didn't know. For me, it's at the bottom. Maybe for you, it's on top.
Yeah, it's under the tables. I see it now.
Okay, amazing.
Awesome. Thank you, and thanks everyone.
Thanks, everyone. I promise I won't bring my cat and start playing and dancing with it to entertain myself for 15 minutes. What was a quick way to get the bars wider? Oh, okay. So what you want to do, Clooney, is you want to, let's see, there's a few ways. Usually when you hover in between both, you should have the ability to make them wider or taller. So I think you have to make sure this thing is unhidden. See, there's a little line, you can make it taller or wider. It won't really matter too much because when we have this thing into the view, we'll actually have everything fit. But yeah, so I'd say make sure this thing's unhidden and then like drag and drop it. Or you can even do it without. So let me see. For the bottom, you have the little panel over your little line. You can drag that to your heart's content. How did the in happen? Oh, that's for the in out. So that's for the sets. Okay, let me put this back. Oh no, I made a mistake with this. How did I got the width, I missed the stats. Okay, I see. How did you get the percentage and dollar signs for the other? How did you get the percentage and dollar signs for the others? I'm not sure I follow in the question. So for Lawrence, I may be mispronouncing your name, Laurencia. So you might need to unmute yourself for this, but do you have the percentage and dollar signs for all the values, or is it just the other one that's missing? You can call me Lauren. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so Lauren, if you want to unmute yourself, probably make things a bit easier. Do you have the percentage and the dollar sign for all of them, or just the others missing?
Oh, I meant I only have that for Disney and not the rest of the bar.
Oh, okay, I see. Because generally it should be in the labels over here. Is it possible that you have it? So when you click on the label button over here, I'm assuming you have show mark labels checked, right?
Let me just check that. Oh, yes.
Okay, perfect. And then marks to label, do you have it for all or do you have it for min, max, selected, or highlighted?
I have it for all.
Okay, so that's good. And then for your labels, like in the T section over here for labels, you have sum of box office revenue and the other one for you have there twice. Because what you need to do is you need to duplicate this. So I'll just kind of remove it over here. So holding the control or command button, you're duplicating this by moving it to label like that.
Yeah, I did have one with the triangle and
Yeah, so,
it does not have the triangle.
Okay, so when you have it in text like right now, do you have the little triangle thing over here on the right?
Mm-hmm.
You do? Okay, that's good. And then you want to drag the box office revenue for a second time onto the label. So you have two of them.
Yeah, I did that.
You have both? Okay. The only other thing I think that could be possible is, I don't know if the labels are so faint that you can't see them on your monitor, but in general, you should have it on all of them. If you want, we can maybe take this one offline, or if you want to share your screen, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can always offer her the permission to share screen.
The permission to share screen?
Fancy.
All right.
Yeah, just give me 1 sec.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm visual, so if I could see, it'd be easier. I think if you enlarge the graph, it'll help. Oh, okay. Actually, Edwin might have a point because if the bars are too narrow, you might not see all of them. So you have to make sure the bars are taller.
Oh, how do I do that? If you can show me.
So what you're going to want to do over here is at the bottom, you have like, if you hover on it, you can have like a little bar to make it taller or wider like that. So maybe that's what's going on.
Oh, yes. Okay. I got that.
Got it?
Yes.
All right, perfect.
Thank you.
My duplication won't work. Clooney, are you using Windows or a Mac? Mac? Okay, so for the Mac, you're going to hold the command button to be able to duplicate a pill. So the command button is the one to the left of the spacebar. And that can allow you to copy the pill. Yes, that worked before, but not now. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm going to try doing it in front of you. So you may need to unmute yourself. So we go through a step at a time, one step at a time. So look at this over here. So first off, for your box office revenue in the columns, like, do you have it as the table calculation? So it's a little triangle on it.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So next step is I'm gonna hold the command button down on my keyboard. I'm gonna drag this over to T for label for text.
Yep. It did it once,
Okay, that's good.
and
So
then
that's
it
fine.
won't do it a second time.
Well, you're not gonna grab it from here. You're actually gonna grab the box office revenue from measures on the left-hand side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's because Tableau is a little bit protective. So if you drag something there for it's the same thing second time, it's going to assume you didn't intend on doing it, but you actually want to do it from over here. That's the little
Okay.
trick.
Okay.
Okay, amazing.
Oh, hold on. Let me try. No, it still won't do it.
For the measures over here.
Yeah, won't do it. Won't let me put it in a second time.
Well, what you want to do over here is make sure you're not using the command button over here. This
No,
is
I'm
just-
not. Yeah, I'm just dragging it and it won't.
Okay. And then if you drag it to label, do you get a second label?
No,
Okay. Does it do anything in particular or?
no, it just doesn't do anything.
Okay. So just to check over here, your sum of box office revenue, does it have the triangle on it?
Hold on, I'll have to make that bigger. No.
Okay. So I think
Oh,
that's
yes,
what
it does. It does. Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
So when you just to double check, so if you click on the little drop down pill and then go to quick table calculation is set to percent of total.
I can set it to that. It is now, but now
Okay,
I've only got the
perfect. Yeah, I think that's what was
percentage.
missing.
Oh, so now I should be able to do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I see. So I thought I was trying to do basically the same thing again. So I need to change the first one. So it thinks I'm trying to do something different. Gotcha.
Okay, perfect. So you're good to go.
Yeah, everything apart from the in out thing. I missed that and I can't work that one out. But anyway, don't worry.
Okay, good. I'm unable to get rid of the grid line when I click format. Oh, okay. Okay, I see. So I'm going to show you how I did that. Oh, I just lost the chat. Give me 1 second. More chat. All right. So for the grid lines, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click in the main area and go to format. And so I'm going to change that for format font, but I'm going to go over here to lines. And then you should be able to do it. So if by default, if I don't have that there, so this is what you're probably seeing, these ugly grid lines, you can right click, format, and you're going to change it from font over here to lines. And I think that's what you may be missing, Audrey. Okay, amazing. So you're good to go. Okay, perfect. This one's a little bit more complicated than I originally intended. Okay, so how many dones do we have now? I forgot to ask people to write down the word done. So I think people need a little bit more time. Okay, we have a lot more dones than I thought. Okay, let's see. So we have 1 done, 2 done, 3 dones, 4 dones, 5 dones, 6, 7, 8. No, I mean, I'm bad at counting. I'm in business intelligence. I should know how to count, but I don't. I would just write a script. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 12. So let's see if we can get 3 more people. 13. 14. 'I promise the last one is going to be extremely easy. We're going to use a cheating feature called the show me button. It's going to build it for you. All you're going to do is the formatting stuff. Done. Okay, so that's 15 people. Excellent. So let's do the same ranking. 1 being, oh my God, this is like the most annoying thing ever. And 5 being, yeah, this is pretty easy peasy. So scale of 1 to 5, what was the difficulty on this? 3, middle, okay. 3, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3. So what's interesting is the bar chart's actually super easy to do, but the formatting is the hard part. So you guys are now learning the value of formatting, because if you spend a little bit more extra effort to make things easy to understand, like for every hour of effort you put in, you're saving your users so much more time. So you're definitely seeing the fact that Tableau isn't necessarily about building the visuals, it's formatting it to make them easier to understand. And you're lucky because I wanted to make sure the colors were not a hard point, but getting them in the right order is a harder part. And also consolidating this from, it's actually 500 companies, but whatever. So that's good. Okay, so we're technically now at time. We have technically 2 exercises left, but would you want to do the tree map together? Would you want to continue for like an additional 30 minutes together? So we'll say yes or no. So yes, if you're okay to continue for another half hour. That's amazing. You guys are really into this. Okay, looks like you're liking the format. So by the way, I wanted to say thank you to Francine because she shared this feedback for me. When I originally did this, there was 7 exercises and I thought the classes were until 12:30. Oh, right. Actually, I'm not past time yet. Okay, actually, you're correct. So Karen Roberts, you're technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. I completely forgot we have additional half an hour. So let's continue. So you guys are good to continue. No breaks needed. You're feeling happy and healthy. You're not feeling like irritated with me. Well, I think you're all too polite to say you're irritated with me anyways. So that's fine. Let's continue with the last exercise. Well, technically, you also have the dashboard build, but that might be a little bit harder, but we can do the tree map. So the tree map is a really interesting one because everyone knows pie charts, but pie charts are not that useful. Well, I mean, there's limitations to what you can do with them. But this one's really interesting because you're looking at the high level. Okay, these are the high level metrics of how I can measure the success of Disney. And then I can go into details of comparing against their relative peers with the area chart. And then I can see very clearly that they have accounted for 1/4 of the revenue. So what's happening now is your end users are now completely understanding it, but they want to understand the details. So you put the high level stuff on top, and you put the details on the bottom. The details are what movies did they make the most money off of. So you could do this as a scatter chart. The scatter chart is good for exploratory analysis. We will discover, for example, this data set like Justin Bieber had a movie. I don't know how he had a movie, but it was not only poorly rated on IMDb, it was a score of 1.3, but it also had the worst revenue. So anyways, we don't want Justin Bieber messing up our visualization here, so we're not going to bother with a scatter plot. And a scatter plot is really powerful because the biggest ones end up on top and the smallest ones are there. And again, we're using by box office revenue. So we are going to build this visualization together. So let's go over to the movie tree map. And I'm going to show you how easy it is. We're going to use a show me menu. So show me, basically, you can do some predefined stuff. All you have to do is control or command select a bunch of things. So I want this tree map. So it says, okay, well, pick at least one dimension and at least one measure. So, okay. So before I do that, I'm only going to filter for just Disney. So I'm going to go over to production company top 5, I believe, and pick Walt Disney. It's either that or the production company paperclip with one or the other. So now it says, okay, well, I want one blue dimension and one green measure. So I want it by movie title or title over here. And now I'm going to hold on the command or control button and click box office. And all of a sudden, wow, all these things are now enabled. So I can grab one of these things. I don't like pie charts. They're ugly, but I do like tree maps. So I'll pick a tree map instead. So by doing that, it automatically builds your visualization. And normally I would say, yeah, you're done, but no, you're not. Now you have to format it. So anyways, what you're going to do now is you're going to do a little bit of cleanup. So what we're going to do over here is the title will, let me just bring my notes over here. All right. So I want the title to be the color. So I'm going to drag it on top of this so it replaces it. And now luckily it's coloring everything for you. But I want this to be a little bit more subtle. So I'm going to click on color. I'm going to drop this down to like 75% transparency just because I want to see if it looks a little better. Almost. Is it 50%? Maybe. I'm going to assume it's 50%. The next is I want to add some additional information over here. So right now I only see title in the text. It would be nice to be able to see how much money they made. So I'm going to put in the box office revenue into label. Okay, so I have a couple $1 million happening, which is interesting. But I also like to get the IMDb rating. And you also have Metascore as well. IMDb is like people voting like you and I. Metascore is like professionals or whatever. So I'm gonna drag that over to label. So I have an 8.1, but I don't know what this actually physically means. Like the first thing a user is gonna ask is, okay, what does 8.1 mean? Like, okay, well, maybe I should tell them. So I'll go to 3 dots over here. So the title will be on top. I don't know why I put this in the wrong order, but it does. So I'll put this here. We'll format everything to the left. And I believe I made this in Arial 10 bold. I wanted the IMDb rating to be at the bottom. And I want the box office revenue there. So if I do a quick little preview, A Christmas Carol, 0 million, 3.7. So maybe I could add the word rating. So space and the word rating. Ah, there we go. Now it looks about right. And then I'll click on the OK button. I think it was actually 75%. I feel like that's too pale. There we go. And for the formatting, I'm going to make this font match the mark color. And I think that's about right. So what will happen is when we put this in our visualization, we'll basically have this fit automatically. So it'll be a little bit more squished, but it'll automatically reformat anyways. But this is an example of using the show me to build something very fast and then just color coding it to your heart's content. So that one's a very fast exercise. It took me 5 minutes in the video. So I'll give everyone 15 minutes and I'll do a quick check. So let's go ahead and get started with this one. So yeah, let's go ahead and give it a shot. Set a timer for 15 minutes. And same ground rules, when you're done, if you just go and type in done, or if you have any questions to write in the chat or to speak up. And while you do that, I'll have like another tea. I should probably stop drinking this stuff.
Hi, Raj. I think we have a question in the chat.
Oh, okay, I'm paying attention. Just curious, how did you have some of the font black and white? Because mine is all black. Okay, so it's because what I did is when I went to font, I change it from automatic to match mark color. I did this as a later step, but if you want to do it early on, you can do that right away if you like. It's always, it's highly recommend always to like match mark color. It usually works well. Okay, perfect. Kind of blue and gray now. Okay, that's an improvement at least. I think it's because with the color, you might have it set to 100%. You may need to drop it down to 75%, so it's a little bit more transparent. So this is my like little workaround to get all the colors to match. So put it to 100, it looks different. Yeah, I think it's a 75. I think it's swapping it down to 75%. Oh, you can play around with it. You can type it or you can move the little thing around. This one's kind of subjective. I didn't get it 100% accurate. I just kind of estimated 75%-ish. But yeah, it'll like dynamically adjust the colors for you. It just makes life a little bit easier. Oh, I forgot to put the title over here, which is Movies with a Cinematic Universe with Sequels are the most profitable. That's my conclusion. Oh, whatever. 20 bold. Eh. Or do not disturb mode, whatever. Oh, weird. I thought I had do not disturb mode over here. I guess I can enable it, whatever. Oh, wait, we have some questions. Wait, are those done already? I wasn't even paying attention. You guys are done already? Hold on. Do we have We have a question over here. The names of the movies are on the right side of the map. Doesn't show up for me. The movies on. Okay, so this question is for Zoya. I'm trying to understand. Instead of
So,
A Christmas Carol, it says A.
yeah, so on the right side, for you, it shows up the full title, but for me, only a like partial part of the title shows up. So I see A Christmas Carol, mine just shows up as A, or like the Princess Diaries, it shows up as the.
Oh, so for those that speak, so the reason for that is it's going to depend on the resolution of your screen. So you're
Oh,
not going to focus too much on the tiny ones because it's going to, like, for example, squish them down. The most important one is like Star Wars, The Force Awakens. Do you have that one as big as possible?
yeah, the ones on the left show up really perfectly.
Oh, that's perfect.
Just on the right
Yeah,
side.
because what's going to happen is, so those fonts are constant, and the smaller you go, the harder it's going to be to kind of show them. And when we put this inside the visualization, it'll get squished down even further. So I wouldn't worry about it for now. It looks like you're good to go.
Okay, sweet. Thank you.
But this is like one of the benefits of a tree map chart. Like the big ones really become dominant in the top left corner, and the teeny tiny ones, like, I didn't even know The Fifth Estate was even a Disney movie, but anyways, it turns out those are like de-emphasized. It's a little trick. So you guys are actually have done this one pretty quickly. You actually have like 5 minutes remaining, and a lot are done. I lost count. Which one is? It feels like a lot of people have done this already. Okay. So look at the timestamps. When did the beginnings happen? Okay, so it looks like most happened around 3:14. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, probably 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, I think that's past the 15 threshold, so we're pretty good there. So you did that in 10 minutes instead of 15, so that's impressive. So same question, on a scale of 1 to 5, what would you say was the difficulty level for a tree map? 1 being, oh my God, worst thing ever. 5 being pretty easy. 4, 4, 4, 5, 4, 5. Okay, so it seems like the general sentiment is this one is a lot easier because there wasn't as much configuration. The show me thing made things a little bit easier, so you're able to focus more on the formatting. So guys, now you actually know about some of the secrets. You can actually save a lot of time. Like for example, I didn't show you guys how to do a histogram. I didn't show you a bubble chart. I didn't show you a scatter plot chart because I don't think they're very attractive for explanatory analysis. But even like a tree map, I actually don't know how to do it off by heart. I just know that if I use a show me thing, it'll figure it out for myself. So you can take advantage of this pretty often. Sometimes when I'm lazy, I'll just build something off this. So once you have that done, the most important thing in Tableau is like, how do you really format stuff? Can anyone hear Raj speak, or is it just me? That's a really good question. Can anyone hear me speak right now? Okay, scared me for a second. I was like, how did I talk for the last 2 hours, but no one has heard me? You may have an audio issue. You just might need to mute and unmute. Okay, that's a good sign. Okay, so I think we're doing pretty well right now. The last thing is putting everything together, but being completely honest, this is the most problematic step. But so just getting back to the slide for a second. So building the visuals, I think we all agree that the best way to learn is to be able to pause, rewind, and be able to do something at your own pace. So I found that the videos helped, and it looks like the general sentiment that everyone had over here today was following along is a little bit challenging, but if you have the ability to pause, rewind, and ask questions, it made things a little bit less stressful, I'm assuming. So you're able to do a big ass number. I think that was about a 4 or 5. The area chart was a little bit harder. The bar chart was a little bit harder with customizations. But by the time that you've already built that muscle memory for formatting, I think by the time you got to the tree chart or tree map, it became a little bit easier. So I think the lesson over here is don't be afraid to pause and rewind to learn, because most of the videos you're actually going to see are only on YouTube. You can get books for this kind of thing, but I don't think it translates very well for that. I mean, you can use it for general knowledge, but YouTube channels are the way to go. So maybe I could share a few things with you. So YouTube storytelling with data, this is like my Bible. So this is totally optional, but if you really want to improve your presentation skills, I know it says this is an hour long. It's actually closer to half an hour. This video has actually made my career. I would strongly suggest, if you have some time whenever, like just watch this and take some notes. It is amazing. And if you're curious about some really good visualizations, Andy Kriebel, this dude's amazing. Like, you can learn so much from him. So I say subscribe to this channel if you're interested. You have a lot of really good playlists. Some of these things are a little bit more advanced, but you can find the beginner stuff. Even I learn things from it all the time. So if you're really curious, this is a good place to go as well. Can you show us how you compile all the tabs into one page as well? Yes, that is actually the last exercise. So I was going to ask a question to everyone as we move on to the next slide really quickly. All right. So we have a problem. The first problem is time. We have 10 minutes remaining. Would you like to continue until 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, meaning having about some extra time together? So you guys are okay to continue past the original slotted time? You have 1 yes, 2 sure. Okay, perfect. So now I don't have to try to compress everything. Okay, perfect. And if you don't have time, you need to leave, that's totally fine. You'll have the video inside here so you can kind of put things together. So again, it's optional if you like to say or not, but luckily for you, the video is already here and I'll do it for you. So look at the general consensus is you guys are actually curious about how do you put a thing together. This is not big ass numbers. This is dashboard. Build a dashboard. And I'm pretty sure this is like 9 minutes, 2 seconds or something. Okay, so if it took me 10 minutes, it'll probably take you half an hour. So I think we have just enough time. For the record, I have never gotten 75% of a class to get a dashboard because it is so error prone. So you could, in theory, do the floating. I'll do the containers, but if you feel a little bummed out that you're not getting it right, don't worry, because this is actually much harder than the scale of a harder, or in terms of technical difficulty, I would say this is like a 2 or a 3. It comes with practice, but let's give it a shot. Let me just make sure the correct video over here. Okay, it's 9 minutes. Okay, perfect. So this is the correct video. So I did put the correct one in here. So let's go over to Tableau. Well, how did I build this thing over here? That's a good question. I completely forgot, but I'll have to figure it out. So I'm going to go to the Your Turn tab. And the cool part about this is you actually have, if you wanted to see how I did it, you can actually go back over here. You can check the sizes and stuff pretty easily. So you have a reference, but you can also go to the video. Where can we find the recording? So the recording is in the video over here. So it's in slide number 14, putting it all together. Yeah, there you go. So I put all the videos in the slides because, let's face it, it's not always easy keeping up with people. So I'm going to skip the whole like drawing bars and whatever together. I'm just going to do it straight in Tableau, because basically this view that I have is the Zoom recording. I'll post in the general chat. Okay, perfect. Because basically over here, you have a bunch of horizontal things over here like that. So you have one bar here, you have another bar here, you have another bar which is technically split here, and another bar here, and there and there. And then the last one's another split. So the reason I picked this size over here is because I wanted to make this as a PowerPoint presentation. When you get into the world, very quickly, everything is still done by Google Slides or PowerPoint. So either you're going to have to make a long form dashboard, which is the size of like 4 or 5 PowerPoints stacked on top of each other, or you're going to make like one slide. So anyways, I made it a little bit easier. So this is all pre-formatted for 1600 by 900, which is PowerPoint. So step number 1 is I'm going to add a title over here. So let's go to show title. And I'm gonna make this one, how did Disney dominate the movie industry? This is an example of asking a business question. And now that you've asked a question, well, as a lovely analyst, you're gonna have to answer the question. And I forgot what size the format is. I'm just gonna assume it's 36, bold. Is it 36? 40, okay, sorry, it's 40. In the video, I think I got it right. Dominate the movie industry. Okay, so this thingy, I don't want it, I want to get rid of it. Okay, so the next step is I want to put my big ass numbers over here. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to simply drag big ass numbers like that. I don't want the title, so I right click, hide title. And I want this to be, I want to say like 100 pixels high. I usually work in 100, like 25 segments, for 25, 50, whatever. And clearly it's not fitting correctly, so that's fine. We're gonna click on the little box and we're gonna say, I don't want to fit standard, I want it to fit the entire view. So now it's like stretching it out. So, okay, cool. So of my budget of like 900 high, I have 100 has been consumed. This is taking something else. So now I want to split something because I'm going to use a horizontal split. So I'm going to drag this over here. And I think though this bar is going to be 425 pixels high. Christina, thank you for the workshop. It's my pleasure. Hopefully you learned something today. And Disney's box office. So that is the area chart. So I'm going to drag that over to the left. And right now it's filling up everything. And I don't really want that to fill everything, but the bigger problem to solve is like, why is this thing floating? So sorry, on the side. So I don't want that to be there. I want this to be, I want to click on the box itself and say, well, you know what? I want this to be floating. And I'll just put this at the bottom to get it out of the way. So this is the area chart, but I want those bars on the right-hand side as well. So I'm going to take those. And you're noticing that this box over here has a dark blue line around it. So I know it's within here. And I know that there's a little bit of a hint that, hey, you probably want it within that box. If I go too close, it's going to be like, well, do you want the entire thing? No, I don't want that there. So it's it's very finicky. So you're going to have to make sure you do it just right so you can get this sort of thing popping up. When you drag it there, it's like, okay, that's good. But I want this to fit the entire view. And I don't like the way it's proportioned right now. I don't need to be 50-50. I'm going to say that I want this to be like, I don't know, 1025 wide. Don't worry, in the video, I'll let you put the numbers and how I did it. I didn't memorize this stuff. And if I really wanted to, I could probably make this fit onto one line. I'm just lazy. I'm not going to do it for now. So now the legend, I want this to be floating. And this is a little bit tricky. So I'm going to hold the shift button so it doesn't try to, actually, you can do it without the shift button. You can just drag and drop it, but make sure it's floating. So this legend is part of the chart. And I don't really want the title over here, so get rid of that. Give me a little bit more breathing space. This is actually technically a bad practice. You shouldn't be floating things, but at this point, we want to make sure things are as easy as possible. So this section is done. The next section is the tree map. So I'm going to drag it over here, but I'm not going to set a height to it. I'll let it be variable, but right now it's kind of squished. So let me just have this fit the entire view, and now it's starting to look a little better. And the last step is going to be figuring out who the author is. So I'm going to drag this over horizontal. I'm actually dragging it in the middle for ease of use because I want it to be annoyingly large so I can drag stuff there. So I'm going to drag a text in here first, and I'm going to put in created by Raj, Nanda. I'm just going to copy and paste it because I'm lazy. And I want to have one more text on the right-hand side, which will be the source. And this is super finicky. So you see if I do it wrong, it's going to put it into the wrong container. So I have to do it just right so that it happens to fit there. If I get a little bit too close, it goes in the wrong part. So this is super sketchy. You just kind of play with it. So I want it just like that. And I'm going to put this one as the source is IMDb. I know I called it Kaggle, but it's actually not from a Kaggle. It's from data.world, but it's a technical detail. And I'll align this to the right. So this is looking a little better, but I think it's in the wrong order. So I'm going to click on my text, but now it's not collecting the entire container. I want to double click on it. And now it's selecting both of those containers together. And I'm going to push this down to the bottom. It's super finicky. So you might have some challenges with this. So don't be, you're going to be pressing Control Z a lot or Command Z a lot to undo. And there you have it. You now have your lovely dashboard. There are some more advanced things that you could be doing, like filters and other things, but for the sake of brevity, I'm not going to explain how to do those, and I'm not going to explain like other calculated fields and other complex things. So I think I did this in 10 minutes in the video. I'll set a timer for like, I don't know, 30 minutes for you guys. If you have questions, like feel free to message and say anything. I'll be more than happy to help. So let's go ahead and get started. And why is floating things considered bad practice? Because if your users ask you to add more things, it will be stuck in there and it won't get squished down. It's just, you'll get told off by other developers for doing that. It should be inside containers. It shouldn't be floating. But if you're a beginner, like, be my guest, put everything as floating if you want. Okay, perfect. So that one's answered. So we'll do the same thing. Set a timer for 30 minutes. By the way, my video, if you want to skip the first few minutes, you can do that to save some time, because like I drone on and on about like layouts and whatever. I get into the actual work like a few minutes in. Yeah, so about the 2-minute mark, I actually legit start working on the dashboard. The 2 minutes is just like preamble, so you can skip it if you want. So maybe we'll change that to 22 minutes. Change the timer to 22 minutes. Come on, Siri, you can do it. There we go. All right. You're welcome. Oh, I forgot to mention, you can technically change the padding so it's a little bit more spacing. So instead of it being 4 by default, you can put it to 10. It's a little bit more breathing room. I think I did this in the video. But yeah, I would click on these individual boxes and just set them to 10. Like this is like the last step, like final polish. But I'll wait for people to hit done, and then I'll talk a little bit about padding and outer spacing and whatever. So for Karen, which one are you not able to edit the height on? Is it the area chart or is it like the like which particular area? You might have to unmute yourself so I can hear like what you're asking.
So I'm having an issue with the box that has the number of movies, box office revenue, all of that stuff right underneath the title.
You might be far from your microphone. I'm having a little bit of a hard time hearing you.
Sorry about that. I'm having issues editing the box that's right underneath the title with the number of movies, box office revenue.
Oh, this one over here. So this one, it's a little bit hard. You don't have to edit this one.
Not the title, the one right under. Yep, that one.
Last number. So I think if you click on it once, you should have edit height over here. Do you have that?
No, it's missing.
It's missing? Okay.
Yeah.
What might have happened is there was probably some sort of container at the beginning
Okay.
that you probably had to get rid of. So I'll just do a quick check. So let's see here. So not Safari, I'll go to dashboard and I want this not to be a browser. I want this to be a PowerPoint. So I'll have it then as a show title. So what'll happen is after your title is there, you have this weird floating box that you've never told it to do anything. You want to get rid of that. So then you have like this little hashed thing, a little texture. And then I think it should allow you to do numbers. So let's say, for example, put big ass numbers here. Now I think you should be able to have the ability to edit height. You might have this little like floating box.
Yep, that fixed it. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, this is why like creating dashboards is so finicky. If you even have like one thing that's wrong, is you're missing some menus. Okay, so let's delete this. There we go. And back to the your turn part. Okay, amazing. There's our first done, second done. I think you're realizing over here that creating a very nice PowerPoint presentation or slide takes a lot of work. And this was kind of like really ideal circumstances. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I think for this one, I'll let it slide at 10 because it's so long and then no, we're a little bit past time. I think it's also interesting because the ones that are working fast get extra breaks. So, I mean, I shouldn't be incentivizing people to work faster, but that's one of the benefits. You're not as stressed out, like, oh, okay, I need to, I don't know, I can't eat something or whatever. How many times we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's 8. We don't have that many people remaining technically. I see 8 people in the Google Slides. So that means 8 people have it open. So I think 8 out of 8 is probably good enough because a lot of people dropped off. Okay. So question for everyone. On a scale of 1 to 5, how did you find building the dashboard was once you had everything ready? Would you say it was 1 being, oh my God, excruciatingly difficult, 5 being extremely easy? Where would you rank it? 4? Okay. Not so bad. Okay. No one's given it a 5 so far, so it's a little bit quirky with the container boxes. Because I know if you go off by a little bit even, you put in the wrong position, so it takes a little bit of practice, but I'm happy that you guys are finding it easy because the first time I gave this presentation, probably when I was 28 years old, 28, so 6 years ago, it was extremely hard. 80% of people were not able to follow along, which is why I learned to record videos instead, because it's very, very challenging to know like where to put your mouse cursor and whatever. If you can pause, rewind, it's much easier. So I'm happy the vast majority of people found this like fairly easy, not too challenging, but just building that muscle memory. So now you know that when you're building a really good visualization or a PowerPoint slide to make sure that you have a really good statement and getting something really well done, it's not that easy. You actually have to do a lot of planning and you actually have to get things to fit right and then be very strategic. Today we were a little bit lucky that the whole color selection process was done for you in advance and everything else was a little bit easier. So I just want to kind of summarize a little bit. So I'm going to go back over to my presentation and drag it over here to this window. All right, so I'll put this back to full screen. How long did it take for you to clean up the data? One large beer and probably 2 or 3 hours. The original data set was really ugly. So like I was just doing it while texting my friends and whatever. For the record, I'm probably going to clean up some data sets for you guys for your final project because I don't think the expectation is for you guys to learn data cleansing. The expectation is for you guys to learn how to present information and to you have transferable skills. So anyway, data cleansing is another can of worms. I would prefer that you guys don't have to do it. So I'll see what I can do with that. So I'll just go back over here to the present mode. Did you ever use Tableau Prep Builder to clean? Yeah, I have actually. So there's a few products. So it's Alteryx, which does a really, really good job, which is used in the industry. Tableau Prep is not as mature, but it's getting a lot better. Do you think it's good to learn data cleaning before learning Tableau? I'm going to say no. Do the opposite. Work backwards. Learn Tableau because it's easier. You'll have a much higher probability of getting a job with that. You generally will have someone else cleaning the data, but if you learn how to clean data, like that's a nice bonus. But do less, but do it well. My opinion, like learn Tableau. You'll probably find some data sources already clean for you. But let's just go back over here. So putting it all together, so you guys have now definitely learned that putting dashboards together takes a lot of practice and iterations. And I don't want to watch my video, go away. So some additional resources. And for the record, I don't expect anyone to read a book, but you can find all the stuff on YouTube. So storytelling with data, through the links inside there, that half-hour video will change your, may not change your life, but will make your communication skills on PowerPoint much better, but they could use for Tableau as well. Big book of dashboards, and I'll Google it. Oh, Alteryx is free for SFU students. Honestly, learn that, but learn Tableau first. Alteryx, I could teach that. That actually is not as hard, but it does make data cleaning much, much easier. You can use advanced stuff like loops and whatever. But highly recommend Alteryx for sure. Makeover Monday, honestly, this is just a collection of his YouTube videos. Just go on YouTube and you'll see all this stuff. So bottom line, YouTube videos and the Tableau community and books are an excellent way to build your skills. And just like in business, we always say you always should have a summary. So you have your summary and your next steps. So the summary over here is, you're not going to remember everything I did with you today in absolute detail, but I want you to take away a few things. Number one, thinking is slow, but seeing is fast, to make things visual much, much better. We didn't do this today, ironically, but spend time understanding your data to find insights. So what I mean by this is when I first had this data set, I was going through and asking, well, what kind of questions can I answer over here? So I found an IMDb data set. So I asked, okay, well, is there seasonality? What is the gross amount of sales? What % won awards? The distribution? What people are getting? Are people getting meaner? How fast are movies going to box office? So I was like, I can't even tell a story with this. So we have to be very specific. So you just narrow your scope, do less and do it well. As an example. So spend time, it'll make things easier. I think about the most important thing to learn today, if you can remember any one statement from the presentation, just create a focus and use color and hue strategically. Like if you're going to make a presentation, focus on one thing. Don't try to do 7, do 1. So today, for example, I did not teach you very much about calculated fields, table calculation. I just focused on getting your storytelling with data practices down, because you can use this with PowerPoint, and this is a transferable skill. Calculated fields, debatable. And also try to make things easy to understand by reducing cognitive effort. This is your pie, count how many 3s you have. Honestly, my strategy is make everything gray and then pick what you want to highlight. So just gray is your friend. Less is more when it comes to colors. I think we agree with that. Pick familiar visuals. So don't like give someone a scatter plot, so just confuse them. Learn people's work. I want to talk a little bit about next steps. So Francine, if you're still around, which you are not.
Yes, I am.
You are? Okay, perfect. Do they have one more course remaining or 2 more courses remaining? I forgot.
So they only have one workshop left. So that would be the workshop that Arash and JR is teaching next week.
Perfect. There now is accurate. There's one more course after this. Then you have the final project and review. This is my recommendation for everyone, but like just do like a small amount every single day and it adds up, like just a few minutes here and there. And if you have any questions, the instructors are going to be available one-on-one on Slack. Like don't be shy, like just ping us, or if you want to ask questions in the group chat, whatever. But at the same time, I don't know if this is permitted, but I'm assuming Francine, you're okay with this. Don't be afraid to collaborate and bounce ideas off of each other. Like the other thing is to build a community, and you guys have like 20 people in here. There's no harm in like collectively working together. So like I would strongly encourage that. So with that being said, do we have any questions over here? Oh, we have some questions. Okay. Is there any free open source resources that come out for data prep? Free open source resources. They're mostly commercially based, but honestly, if you want to learn data prep, you should do it in SQL. So let's say SQL. Well, this is, of course, this is a little bit more developer based, but for sure, I would say SQL. They have tons of resources. I'll say check out data.world. So this like all like browser based. You don't have to even install anything. But honestly, if you want to learn how data cleansing, learn SQL, and it will make your life easier. Do we have any other questions? It could be about my personal journey with Tableau, industry stuff. Why is my dog always sleeping? I don't know. You guys have a few minutes with me, so you might as well enjoy it. Or if you have any questions or comments. So if you have any constructive feedback, I mean, you're probably not going to share it. People are really polite. So anything else that you'd like to know about while I'm still around?
Hey, Raj.
For teaching today. It was very helpful. I appreciate it a lot. This question though, how do you know, I guess, or conceptualize a design for your visualizations? How do you, yeah, I guess, how do you come up with the design?
Oh, if I could answer that, and Karen, I'll answer you after. So I think that comes a little bit with experience, but actually the dominant way of actually answering this question, like 80% of the answer is you have to spend time with your end users and ask what questions they're trying to understand. So generally, Brendan, when you're building a dashboard, you're not building it for yourself, you're actually building it for other people. So what this means is in the industry, this is what business analysts do. They basically try to understand what they're trying to figure out and then transcribe that to a developer. But if you're really, really good, you'll just go directly to business saying, okay, what are the problems you're trying to solve? Like what's keeping you up at night? And what are these big questions that we can answer? So for example, like I just basically do everything in question format, and this allows me to narrow the scope. So the simple answer is hang out with your end users or ask other people, get feedback. Like who is actually going to look at your dashboard? For the most part, it will be, you're in the industry's executives. In this sort of scenario, it's going to be the WISE committee. So ask them questions. So always
Okay,
like basically just have a feedback loop, ask people questions.
Oh, I was gonna say,
Thank you.
in terms of who your audience is for this like presentation, it's going to be our members because they'll be voting.
Oh, okay. So that's a little bit harder though in this situation because they're gonna have so many people to bounce ideas off of. That's a hard question. Maybe I'll get back to you on that, or ping me on Slack. It's like a narrow the scope of your question if you want to know an industry or this scenario. Now for Karen's question, you mentioned good ways to find entry-level jobs without data analysis courses, but you cut out so I didn't hear LinkedIn suggestions. Okay, so one of the challenges in the industry is finding people that truly understand how to build visualizations that are aesthetically pleasing and easy to understand, that actually explain problems or basically answer business questions. So my recommendation for anyone that's trying to break into Tableau, number one, create a LinkedIn profile. I should write this down. Create a LinkedIn profile. Number two, follow hashtag makeover Monday. 3, build visuals. Share them on LinkedIn and ask for feedback. So as you get more involved in the Tableau community, people are going to start recognizing that, and you probably will start getting pinged by recruiters or hiring managers. Like for example, on my side, I work for TD Insurance, and we're trying to hire more Tableau developers, which is surprisingly rare, scarce sort of resource. So I'm just going to check people's profiles and say, okay, well, are you like a Tableau enthusiast? Like you don't even have to have formal certification in there. I don't even care about that. But I want to see pictures on your profile. Like, okay, well, I don't know, like Makeover Monday, whatever thing Andy Kriebel posted, were you able to make your own version? But like, are you creative? Are you trying to understand problems? So I would highly recommend, like basically here's my explanation in short. Every single social media platform has its purpose. Instagram for sharing pictures, Facebook if you're horrible and old and like to yell at people, whatever. Okay, I don't have a good view of Facebook. Strava if you're an athlete and you want to find a community of other people that are athletic to find what they're doing and learn from them, their routes. LinkedIn if you want to have a professional community. So honestly, get involved in the professional community on LinkedIn, which is probably the easiest solution. The second solution is you probably have Tableau user groups in the Vancouver area or your other local cities, and you can learn from people there. but it's really going to come with practice. But so it's 50% practice and 50% broadcasting your results, because you're probably gonna get hired by someone that you didn't even know they were looking for you and they just found you somewhere. So that's my long-winded explanation for it. So for sure, LinkedIn is your best friend right now.